Morgan Jones and Krissie John from Veteran Pest and Wildlife Services. Thank you for coming out on Brite Cast. Maybe tell me a little bit about the business, how you got started, and we'll go from there.
So I was in the Navy, and when I got out, I was headed to school at Mason, and I actually worked for a small pest control company for about 4 or 5 years while I was in school, and really learned the ropes about small business and about pest control, and it really piqued my interest. It was really great. I learned that, sort of the flexibility of small business is we're able to help people sort of much more individualized than a larger company would. And I just really liked it. And so I learned a lot about that. And after I graduated, I became a teacher for a couple of years, and I started the company to sort of work during the summer and after school, and had a lot of success and really enjoyed what I was doing. So I ended up quitting teaching and just doing the company.
Cool. So you started in 2010 officially?
Yeah, it was 2009 really, but yeah.
Just by yourself?
Yeah. I was just alone doing stops. I think by 2013, I had hired a couple people to help me kind of do things.
How long were you in the Navy?
I did 5 years.
Oh, cool. Anywhere cool?
Yeah. Actually, I was in Sicily for 4 years, man.
Oh, nice. Yeah. We'll have to talk about that later.
Had a good tour.
Sure. Yeah, if you can pull the mic just a little bit closer.
Yeah, sure.
There you go. So how has the business evolved since 2009? Obviously, you have employees, wonderful employees and stuff. So, how has it grown? Have there been difficulties in the growth? We'll go.
Yeah. I mean, there's just always putting out fires.
Yeah.
So I think the hard part, kind of has been to get to the point where I could afford to hire someone as good as Krissie.
Yeah.
And get people that could, you know what I mean? So it was always that breakover period where, I was doing really well on my own. But there's only so many limitations you can do. Yeah. I was writing everything down in a book. And I remember one time I showed Krissie my scheduler from when I was in 2015 or something. And I was writing everything down and somehow I was making it work, but it's that breakover period of getting really good people on your staff that can help you to sort of focus on every other little thing that you need to do. And
so at what point was that? What year-ish?
It was really the year I hired her.
Yeah, so 2017? Was that?
Well, I had employees before that, but I just, the organization, you can only wear so many hats as a business owner. And right. I certainly tried. And then I'm pretty decent at all that, but it's when you're trying to really multitask on so many levels, I just wasn't able to do it all. And so bringing on somebody that's sort of able to help with that was a big turning point. And it really just sort of happened that the evolution was perfectly placed.
Yeah. Did you guys know each other before?
No.
So you just applied for a job?
I did.
Wow.
I quit a job with no job lined up.
Okay.
And so a friend of mine had put on, social media, Facebook, and said his friend was looking for an office manager. And so I reached out to him and said, well, what kind, an office manager to do what and what's the company? And so he introduced me to Morgan and I went for the interview, but I had absolutely I know what a mouse is, but I don't know how you get rid of them. And I know how to answer a phone, but I didn't know what to say, But no, I came in 2019.
So was it her organization that you noticed? That was probably one of the biggest things?
She certainly is that.
Yeah.
Very, A-type with things that I'm not. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy the customer service contact, and the biggest part for me that I enjoy is that we're protecting people's property, their health, and their peace of mind, and that's what's driven me. What doesn't drive me is the numbers, and what doesn't drive me is running the. I don't want to use bad language, but the scheduler and all the things like that I'm just not great at. And what's awesome is she is. Yeah. And she's just having someone to bounce ideas off and things like that. Sorry, I kind of got lost in that.
No, I'm mostly a solopreneur. I have some people that help me with various things, but a lot of it is me. So I'm having to start to give these tasks over to people. That's been difficult to do.
I understand that.
Even just like my wife is starting to help me with some graphic design and stuff.
Well, we know nothing about web development, and we're so happy that you've helped us with that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've seen a big difference, and so thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. You guys are number one in Ashburn.
We are. The other day he was like, how's it going? And I was like, number one across, I think,
a lot of keywords.
10 or 13 of them are number one. And if they're not, every month they're growing and getting closer.
It just takes a long time, and especially in a competitive market. Like if you were a quilter or something, I could probably get you number one in not a long time. But when you're in a pest control business, in a competitive market, it takes a little bit of time. So being a veteran, how do you think that has played a role in what your services are?
Oh gosh,
and your name choice at that.
Well, I thought it would be a popular name choice because a lot of vets like people serve in this area. I know this for a fact. Like when I go to hire somebody, I always give a second look to the fact if they served in the military. Because the thing is, I know they know what to expect from me. I know what to expect from them. I know what their work ethic is, and a lot of our guys are vets that work for us. It's I don't know. I mean, I don't dwell on that a lot, but. Right. But I do know that it was a very formative part of my life, like where I was stationed and what I did, and it turned my life around a lot. And so I think it's something that it's been important for me to incorporate into the business, just because it's
and that probably plays into how you run the business in terms of your ethics and everything, and how you treat customers and everything. So other veterans that would be looking for your services might be more likely to choose you guys because they would know who they're dealing with.
I think so. I think that may be something to it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple other contractor people that are clients, that same sort of thing. They offer veteran discounts and stuff like that, and they end up getting a lot of clients because of that reason. Yeah. I think just, there's no frills. Like you get what you get, and we're going to do the right service by you, especially like veteran to veteran. They're definitely going to do the right thing,
Yeah.
So what particular service offerings do you have? I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? Because not a lot of other people do wildlife stuff.
Well, I'm doing a lot of the talking. I'm sorry, but
do it. I love it.
Perfect.
I thought it was going to be me. I'm so pumped.
Yeah. This goes back to when I worked for that small company. They did everything, and so and I'm kind of a nature guy. I do a lot of backpacking and like outdoor stuff, and so I just naturally fell into really liking wildlife control.
Right.
So I was kind of their Swiss Army knife there, and I did everything, and so I learned everything, and that we do everything from attic insulation replacement. We do dead animal removal. We do bed bug treatments, termite treatments. We do kind of every aspect of pest management, but including in that sort of the wildlife control stuff, because it's just something that I've had learned as well.
I don't think a lot of those other big box companies do that more. This more like we're just going to come and spray, and that's pretty much it.
And that's how we get, I would say, a good 20% of our wildlife customers they already have a pre-existing pest control company.
Okay.
And so they we either get that they don't do wildlife at all. We also take over quite a few of the mice control issues. There are quite a few companies that won't treat attic spaces. And so sometimes people will call and say, listen, they'll do all the, the exterior, the interior, but they won't treat the attic.
Right.
And that seems to be the source of our issue. And so we'll go and treat their attic for them. And not long after that, they'll call back and say, we'd like to go ahead and move forward with you all for all of it, since we are comprehensive.
I want to know who to call when I need anything.
Because if you have someone for this, and then another company has to come in and take over one piece, a lot of times they just end up saying, can you just do all of it for us? It's,
I don't want to have two different bills.
Kind of thing. Correct. Yep.
Way better.
Yep.
So are there like monthly packages, different, quarterly, whatever? It just depends on what people need.
Depends on what you need and correct. Yep. So there are services, our yard sprays, which are getting ready to come up for us, which helps with cutting down mosquito, flea, and tick. So those are every 3 weeks. Throughout April through October. Then we offer for general pest control services, we've got monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, and some folks just want semi-annual just for that peace of mind. They don't really have a huge issue. I kind of think of it like the dentist, right? Clean your teeth every 6 months and you won't have as many cavities. So some of these semi-annual folks just want a quick outdoor spray and that cuts down the activity,
Right.
so it's not quite.
Yeah,
so.
we had some bad mosquitoes. I think you guys got rid of them like 2 years ago. But there was just some sitting water out there for no reason. And then we were like, oh, it's so nice out. Let's have a glass of wine. There were like 50 bites on us. And
Yeah,
like,
you can't enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. But it's been gone ever since then, luckily. What are some like challenges that you guys have in building the business or just dealing with customers or, anything in particular?
There just feels like sometimes there's fires to put out every single day.
Yeah.
I can't think of any. I mean, I know we had thought of some of these challenges, but
So we talked about, and I'll remind you, and then you can explain. But one of the challenges that we had talked about was for like mice and roach control, even bed bugs sometimes when a customer calls, but they have a shared wall. So like an apartment unit or even a townhouse unit. So if one customer calls with an issue, there might be a challenge in treating it because of that shared wall.
Right. So you have to like get the other person to do it too? I didn't know that.
That's ideal, but when you can't, then
Right.
you have to go to plan B.
back.
You have to do plan B.
Yeah.
well, one of the things with roaches we can do is to treat inside the wall voids between units.
Okay.
So like in a townhouse, if the next door neighbor was not taking care of their place, you could treat the wall voids to prevent like roaches from their unit coming into your unit. Same thing with bed bugs.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about mice control too. Sometimes with the bigger, when it's not an individual home, we have to recommend treating the entire outside of like a condominium unit, and we do several of those, like where we treat around the garbage, the dumpsters, and around the outside. Because with mice in general, you've got to deal with the outside area before to try to keep them from coming in the first place.
So are mice year round here?
Oh, for sure.
Sure.
Is everything year round from those? Like, I guess
we haven't.
Roaches maybe if they're inside.
Roaches are, yeah. Any of the
are.
inside pests are.
Yeah.
The ants and spiders and things tend to be mostly in the spring and summer and fall.
I
But
killed a spider already this year. Yeah.
Well, it's been starting to warm up.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
gotten some of those random.
But Jerry
50
just came to
degree.
spray.
yeah, but the
so-
same.
Yeah.
We were treating your housing.
You're good. It was before he came, but that was like when we had a few warm days, and all of a sudden there's a tiny little spider. We don't really have that many things here, except for we came back from Dominican, and I showed you all those like bot flies that we had. Do you remember that?
No.
This is like two years ago.
Those just giant flies.
There was like
lethargic
200 of them in the house.
They're
Most of them
cluster flies.
dead in the
windows.
What are they called?
cluster flies.
Cluster flies. Yeah. So something must have died. But I think that was like another thing with sharing a wall. The people that used to live here were not very.
Strangely, those
Friendly.
aren't that insect. Like they don't eat off of dead animals. Those
really?
Those are flies that lay eggs on the outside of your wall, and then every once in a while they can manifest inside the house or come inside.
They manifested all right.
Yeah.
It was like a apocalypse.
And there's
when we got
nothing you can
home.
do about it except vacuum them up.
Yeah. Well, I got one of those electric zappers. Like,
Oh, nice.
The tennis racket?
That's
oh
fun.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Those are great for carpenter bees too.
Yeah, it was a
love
lot of
those.
fun. So what do you do for like customer education, for stopping, let's say you do, you have termites or something. How do you educate people afterwards to that
Well, I think
not
it's
let it happen again?
A lot of that starts with training our guys. Like, so we do training every week, if we can, at least every other week. And we pick an issue that's like going on right now. And my whole goal with that is to have our guys educate our customers when they go out.
Yeah.
Because it helps us. And whatever it is, like we want to help them prevent termites, like move wood piles away, keep the dirt piles away, keep things exposed so we can see it. If it's keeping roaches away, it's, inspecting your stuff before you bring it into the house. Bed bugs, it would be like leaving your luggage inside of your trunk and washing your clothes before you bring it in. Leaving your luggage at a hotel in a bathroom instead of on the bed. And that can all those things. But those are, I think it starts with educating our techs that are out actually
Right.
with the customers. And if they see stuff around the house that's like would help to prevent a pest issue, helps us and it helps the customer. And
and creates some trust between you guys too. You know, you're not like, oh, I noticed that. I'm just gonna wait till the bed bugs come back. You know, like
that's not where we're at.
Yeah, exactly. That's but there's some people might be like that. So it's good to have like, this is our, how we treat our customers, but also the education of what to look for. Because how many guys that like or girls when they come in are actually trained in doing what you're doing?
I mean, I hardly ever hire anybody that's been doing this a long time. Okay. And it's not that I necessarily look for it, but I certainly like a blank page. I like when someone comes in and I can kind of tell them my philosophy on all the pest issues and how to deal with it. And I'm not looking for somebody that's trying to make sales. Like I'm trying to. Right. It goes back to the protecting people's property, their health, and their peace of mind. Yeah. And I've made a living doing that, and I think we can train our folks to just help people to not have the issue in the first place. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, are there any like crazy horror stories that you've got to come across a few over the years? I've got one. I don't know if I.
Yeah. He can cut it if it doesn't work.
Yeah, this isn't live.
I've got a bunch of them. I mean, I don't know.
Give me one now, and we'll go for your number 2 later.
Well, okay. So one time I went into a crawl space. It was during like the housing crisis, like in 2009 or 8 or whatever. Yeah. And so I'd climbed all the way in the back of this house. And by the way, it was one of those like foreclosed like properties where like no one ever goes into. Yeah. I mean, it's been vacant for a while. And so I got there before the real estate agent did, and I go into the crawl space to look for termites. And I walked all the way in the back. And you always tell yourself you're never going to see like a dead body, anything like that. Oh. Well, I got clear back in the back, and there's a freaking dude laying there. And I'm like, he's definitely dead. And so I hit my head about 10 times, like getting out of the crawl space.
Did you have to go backwards in the crawl space?
It wasn't that low, but I believe me, I was not worried about it. I hit my head. I was getting out of there. Yeah. And
was he in the crawl space?
He was in there. And so it turned out the gardener had too much to drink the night before, and he was sleeping it off in the back of the crawl space hiding. And so anyway,
So he wasn't dead?
He was not dead.
Oh, okay. And then, just hammered.
But when the real estate agent got there, he woke him up, and then he was like throwing up in the yard. And
oof. Why would you go to the crawl space? Of all places.
Well, he was trying to hide.
Go home.
Yeah, right. Go to your car.
I have another one I'll share real quick. Yeah. So we went to a house that there was a dead animal smell. Mm-hmm. And so it was really bad. And like this guy's like adamant. He's like, I smell it right here. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I don't know. So he convinces me to cut into his wall. And I have a drywall saw that's about like this long. Yeah. And so I go and I'm cutting into the drywall. And I'm like, it feels like I'm cutting into insulation. And what I was really cutting into was a dead raccoon. Ooh. And so I finally, these probably aren't good.
No, they're good. These are your clips, man. These are your viral clips right here.
So I get it all open and have to like pull this thing out. And it was like a million flies came out as soon as I pulled the thing out. And I don't know. But the guy was right. That's where the dead animal was. So.
Yeah, it's like, I can smell it right there.
Right there.
So what are so now you're the operations manager. What's like the day-to-day look like for you?
Starting out in the morning and making sure that all the guys are in their trucks and starting their day. Yeah. They operate from their tablets, so it's not like we all meet in the morning. Right. So I have to make sure everyone has, gotten up for work that day and gone in. Mm-hmm. Then we check email, reply to any emails that came in over the night, answer any voicemails that came in over the night, monitor our Yelp page for anyone that's sent us any information like lead requests, taking care of all that. Checking in with the guys throughout the day, just making sure that they are, on schedule. Yeah. Because the thing about our job is one quarterly might take 20 minutes, another one might take an hour.
Our house takes 15 minutes.
But, and then, but even a 15-minute quarterly, what if we came and you had a dead animal smell? Oh, well, now we're here a little bit longer than we anticipated. Yeah. And so just monitoring.
It would be me dead in the crawl space.
One of Jesse's famous fox
photos. Yeah, exactly.
So they, just making sure that they didn't get stuck somewhere for too long. Right. Because if that happens, then we need to let the other customers know, we're not going to be there when we thought might be a little bit later. So just monitoring, making sure that they're, where they are in their route. Mm-hmm. And then we get, in the winter, it's a little bit slower. So maybe 10 to 20 calls a day. But in the spring, we're answering 50 calls a day per line. So there are 3 of us with a phone line.
Oh, okay.
So the phones keep us busy for the most part of our day.
Yeah.
But, then the small things like closing out their work orders. Once a job is completed, making sure the technician closed out of it, making sure that they had the thorough notes and all the chemicals that were used. Making sure the timing of the stop was recorded on there so that the customers know exactly what happened.
Especially if they're not home.
And then there are quite a few that aren't, that just need kind of outside stuff, so they don't have to be there for us to be there. So just making sure that the service report that they receive is completed.
Yeah. How is using field routes helped? You're using that?
Incredible. Yeah. So we switched over about a year ago from a previous CRM, I guess is the, thank you. This is the stuff we don't know. So that's why we have you. But
it's a CRM.
We switched over to field routes. It's made the scheduling process much more seamless. There's a mapping feature that you can use.
Nice.
And so Kimberly's our office manager, and she does the bulk of routing the folks that we know we have to hit that month.
Right.
And there's a map, and it just shows you all the people due in March.
That's
and it clusters them, right? So she just kind of moves them onto days where it makes sense so that we're not driving all over.
Right.
We have a huge service area from Prince William
Speaking
County.
of, what is for people that don't know, what is the full service area that you have?
So this direction, we go as far out into some parts of, we're kind of getting into some parts of Fauquier. Trying to get a little bit more into that. But we, Prince William, Fairfax, Loudoun, all the way to the West Virginia line, Alexandria, Sterling, Ruston, all the way into DC.
Okay. So that's a lot.
It's a pretty big area, which can be a scheduling nightmare.
Yeah. Without something like field routes.
Yep. Yeah. Or even with it sometimes. Don't get me wrong. We get calls from the tech sometimes, like, there's 30 miles between stops today.
Yeah.
But
so
that's
you try to have them, is Jerry the Manassas guy and there's someone else is the Ashburn person, or
no, they all go everywhere.
Oh, really? It just depends on what days they're working and okay.
They may try to end up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Where they're, where they live if we can. But
yeah.
As doing wildlife, that's one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah.
If we have an animal in a trap, we have to go that day.
Right.
And so it's not easy to just make the guys stay local.
Right.
Yeah, we try based on where they're lived. If someone calls in from Herndon and it's their first time with us, we look for someone who's in the Herndon area if it's something we're going to be going repeatedly to.
Right.
But if that person's not available for 10 days, we're not going to make them wait for someone who may not live in that area, but they have a job out there in 2 days. And so that's when they kind of get jobs.
Right.
All of the technicians have jobs in every one of those pockets. And it's just Kimberly sorts it on the map so that...
And different people can do different things.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have some pest control only guys.
Jerry gets sprayed by skunks.
He does. He actually has a skunk at his house.
Every time.
He does. He
Go
has
to the
right
other
now.
side.
He actually texted us the day. He's got one under his house, right now.
Oh, really?
And he's like, Enrique, can you come take care of this?
Yeah, he's like, I'll trap it, but you have to come get it because I'm not getting sprayed again.
He's gotten sprayed a few times just in the last couple of years.
I think Kimberly was like, you're not having another day off.
Yeah.
No, you're not. No.
That's funny. So he got us 4 squirrels out of our attic.
Oh, we did?
Last summer.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So we heard this scratching constantly. We couldn't really figure it out. And then one day I just went outside and was looking up, and there was 4 squirrels just hanging out from a hole in our attic area. So he came and patched up the hole and got them all out with one of those
one-way traps.
One-way traps. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it worked great.
They're awesome. Cute, but they don't pay to live here.
No,
so
they
you don't
pay.
Want them in your
and
attic.
it's weird when they're scratching above your head.
You get no sleep.
Yeah.
They make more noise than people think.
Yeah, totally. So how many employees, how many service guys do you have right now?
6.
6? Okay.
6 service and then 3 of us in the office.
Okay. So they're pretty busy during the spring when it starts, yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Running around all over the place.
Anywhere between 8 and 14 stops a day.
Right. So what are the most common pests? Wildlife, I guess you could say. Instead of just bugs.
Well, I think it depends on the time of year. So
yeah.
we're about to enter it's the bird season kind of in early March and
it's a good band name.
Yeah,
bird season.
Yeah. Bad.
Yeah.
So then that gives way at some point, and then we end up like more with like carpenter bees, and the gray squirrels have a baby season at the end of the spring.
Oh, okay.
And raccoons go through the summer, and then when fall hits, it's mice, and so it just kind of depends on what time of year.
Do you get a lot of snakes and stuff?
Yeah, all through the summer. Yeah, especially in like the Ashburn, like Leesburg area.
Oh, really?
I don't know why, but they get a lot there.
It's another one of those seasonal ones, like you were saying. Like there are some things that we just don't deal with for.
Yeah, I don't deal with snakes. So
I
if we ever get one of those, you're coming out.
I love the phone. I do not love what they have.
I got over spiders. Like I was always when I watched Arachnophobia as a kid, I was like 12 or 13.
I've used that in training before.
Oh, really? I mean, yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. I was so paranoid. I think when my first anxiety really started after watching that, I would pull my sweatshirts up over your
wrists,
and then pull up my hoodie and then like tuck in my sweatshirt and stuff. I was terrified. But then when I was 18, I killed a big wolf spider out at our old Elam property, and after that I was like, I killed them all. I'm good now. Yeah, snakes. I haven't done that with a snake yet, so it's not
never.
We actually offer seasonally something called snake scram, where we apply it around the outside of the house. We do it like April through October because that's really the seasons of when snakes are there.
Yeah.
And then consequently the same thing with like mosquito treatments. We do that April through October. Varying at the end, because like October and November could be still warm, so like we keep it a little open at that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, with the wildlife part of it, is what's percentage of of your customers are just that and not like the monthly stuff, or is it to kind of start there and then you sell them on the other things? Like
sometimes there are some people will go out. We love when the technicians go out and quote them for things that they may not have an issue with, not to sell them something they don't need, but to offer them services that they could be interested in later. So if we go out to remove a bird from a vent or to, take squirrels from the attic, sometimes they'll call thinking it's squirrels and it actually is mice. And so sometimes it can turn from wildlife into pest control and vice versa.
Yeah. So and a lot of those folks have quarterly pest control with someone else that's all they do. And like you said before, they're really looking for somebody that can do all their issues.
Right.
And that's us.
I think we have a rat out here, but I'm not sure. It looks
in the back?
Yeah. Well, it's when it snowed a few weeks ago, it looked too big to be a mouse. And it was underneath our like couch out there. Looked too big.
Do you have bait stations out back?
No. I'll make Jerry do that next time.
Yeah. I mean, he can put a snap trap in the bait station too.
Okay.
Because if
it's not
rats,
unheard of to be like right where we're at here. There could be some rat issues.
Yeah. I mean,
and they're kind of one-off things. Rats travel a really long way.
Yeah.
So, they get into storm drains and come out some places and they have a muscle memory. They're much harder to, they're not like mice where they're just like.
And you're close to a lot of restaurants now. They've just opened a couple new like fast food places and drive-throughs, which would.
Yeah, there's people that are always throwing trash and stuff too.
We actually had a ton of problems with townhouse communities for a couple things, but during COVID, it was because the restaurants were sort of not throwing as much trash away, so they had to come into the communities. But also, it's the trash. I mean, I lived in a townhouse forever, and people took the trash out twice a week, and the rats just had their field day with the trash.
Yeah,
and the dumpsters and stuff.
Yeah, and of course, it's always a windy day when the trash gets put out, and it just
literally yesterday.
Yeah,
every time.
It's always the case.
Every time. So, for like local involvement, she's in Old Town Strong. You've supported it as well. Like, do you think that that's helped business? Because you guys are really active on like Manassas Talk and stuff. Like, I feel like Facebook groups have been a good way for you guys to get business.
Well, that's what AJ's done for us a lot too. Like, so she does our marketing and like Facebook, and I'm sure a bunch of other things I don't know about.
Me either.
No.
Keeping her sane.
Yeah. I mean, there's that.
Right.
So yeah, I think that, and also. I think we could do more, but I mean, we've sponsored some of the things where AJ used to work at the
at CRI.
At
the
CRI.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I do think that's an area we could improve on. I mean, there's things in Ashburn that I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Just sponsoring local schools, maybe, or I don't know.
And you're in Ashburn too? You live in Ashburn?
No, I live out in Percival. Okay. I live out, the Western Loudon.
Okay, but you did you used to live in Ashburn when you started?
Well, I lived in Sterling and Herndon when I started. I've never really lived in Ashburn. Yeah. Well, I did for a little bit. But.
Yeah, I worked out there.
Did you?
Oh, commuting from Manassas. Oh my God.
Well, they finally fixed 28 probably since then. And,
yeah, I mean, when I first graduated college, which was 2005, I got my first job, and there was no 4 lanes. All the way up 28. Oh, dude.
There were still traffic lights.
Bad.
An hour and a half at least one way. And that's even if you take back roads. And
I mean, that's when I was commuting to Mason. It was awful. Like 28 was just, they fixed a lot of it. It's
terrible.
Now there's more people here. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So how do you like build trust with customers? Is it really just not overselling them and then educating them?
I think that's a huge part of it. Yeah. No, I think, there's some companies that go out there and they tell every single customer they need new insulation in their attic.
Yeah.
And so I used to be a home inspector, and I'll come in and just be like, well, no, I don't even know why, but I do know why. They're trying to make a big sale. Yeah. So I don't know how many times I've come in and tell people like, you don't need to do that. So yeah, just being their honest, an honest opinion.
Yeah.
We also don't do leads like some of the big box pest control. They have folks who go out. Is that what you call them? Like a lead guy who goes and door knocks in neighborhoods.
Well, door to door, but there's also just pure salespeople that we don't have too.
Right.
Like we don't do that. We try to just find what they need mostly over the phone, but we'll send someone out. And so for wildlife, we charge an inspection fee for some people. Somebody that call it, they have squirrels and we don't know what exactly is needed. We charge $125 to come in and put a ladder up and find everything. And if they don't need anything, they just pay us the $125 and our guys spend an hour there. But then we count the inspection fee towards the service that they are hiring us to do in the end. And I don't know. I mean, it just serves us well not being the sales force. And I know why they're doing it. But
I don't like those companies.
It's not my business model, man. No. Like we'd rather be slow growth and have our guys trained and know that they're not going out there and take care of our guys too. Like we take care of them with lots of vacation days and good salaries, so they don't feel like they need to do that.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too that helps us in terms of building and then goes into maintaining for those that stay on with us, we are fairly brutally honest with folks when they call in over the phone in terms of managing expectations.
Yeah.
People call all the time and say, we have mice, we want you to seal them out so they never get back in. And there are plenty of companies who will say, oh, no problem, we'll come out and we'll do that for you, except it's not realistic. It's
not really what it is.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
So just managing the expectations of what it is that we can do, where we might need some help with handymen. Sometimes they might have to call someone at garage door seals. We can't replace your garage door seal, but we can point that out to you and direct you to who can fix it for you. But I think managing expectations and being upfront with them instead of giving them false hope that there might be a solution when we know that there isn't.
And I can add on to that a little bit. And I think that is, I ride with the guys quite often and go on the stops with them. And we put our most experienced guys riding with a new hire. And it's the education that they get from that sort of experience that enables them to kind of be the trusted person for the customer.
Yeah.
Just telling them, I mean, like Jerry was probably giving you advice about how to, I don't know. It's just, I think that education is really where the trust comes from.
Yeah,
for sure. Honestly, if you go to the doctor, you just want the doctor to tell you exactly what your issues are and what your prognosis is. Like, you don't want to have somebody inexperienced or doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much I trust doctors these days anyway. But but yeah, I mean,
but you get a sense right away when you have a good one.
Yeah, I had a good, I've had a good dentist and like a skincare doctor, like dermatologist. She's great. And she's
for every good one though, there's 10 bad ones.
Yeah, exactly. So
I
even though I'm paying so much for insurance, but that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that's the thing. I think you can the minute someone starts to talk to you, if they know what they're talking about, and that's what we strive for. I'm like, we're not over hiring and trying to grow faster than we can. Like we're keeping a smaller group of really good people. That know what they're talking about and are straight up and honest with people. And that's what we've got. We've got the best crew, right? I mean, in the 12-year, 15 years I've done this. Like, it's the best crew I've really ever had.
That's awesome.
It's really great.
So what's a good like referral for getting you another service worker? Like if you did want to expand, like what does that person look like? You know?
Well, I mean,
willing to deal with pests and not scared of things.
Yeah. And sometimes it depends on the time of year too.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Well, we're hiring right now.
We need a wildlife person probably that can do both.
Yeah.
I'm always willing to interview somebody and talk to them and have lunch and have a couple of beers with them. Like that's the way I do it. And like I said, I would always give deference to somebody that was a former military. Even Jerry's a Marine. I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't even know he was a Marine until like maybe a year ago.
Yeah, no, he doesn't talk about it a lot.
No, he doesn't.
He's a great dude, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and you can tell that formed a lot part of his life.
Every once in a while, he'll stand up when there's people are being recognized as veterans. Like, oh, that's right.
You forget.
He doesn't talk about it all the
doesn't.
time, which is quite admirable.
I kind of prefer that too. Like, I don't like it.
That's why you named the company
to be your idea. Yeah, that's true.
It's funny when people ask. They're like, "Is it because you're veteran owned, or because you've been doing this for a long time and you're veterans at pest control?" And someone actually asked that yesterday, and I chuckled because that was the first time I had heard that. Like, are you a veteran of the industry or military? And I thought, oh. And he was like, well, both.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Been around for 15 years and was a vet.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's important to people know who you're hiring, So, I mean, it's one, personifying something, and the other is just being, good people that have good work ethic. And that's what a lot of veterans are.
Yeah.
And that's why I would give deference to somebody. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Google reviews are doing good. Yelp reviews are doing very good.
Yep.
That's like a big way for.
I know it blows your mind.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Mike is always like, "Why do you keep using the Yelp service?" And I'm like, "Because we're a niche industry. I think that really there are a few that we get lots and lots of leads from there."
Right.
Well, we had, things go away. We had Angie's List for a really long time, and I think we had 300 reviews on there. Like, I mean, and I was paying them quite a bit of money.
Right.
But it transformed into something new, and it's not.
And I think once Google Business came around, you don't have to go to like another site, so people just started looking that way a lot of the times.
It was frustrating though to lose all those reviews. I mean, I think there's still some kind of Angie's List thing or reference or something.
Right.
It really was a time lapse of the early days when I first started. But now it's Google reviews, and what you're doing is really helping us out.
And there'll be another iteration in the next 5 years of whatever the new thing. It's going to be ChatGPT reviews or something, probably.
Yeah. Well, so you're helping us to get just the organic search stuff,
right? Yeah. But that that helps. Like as you're getting reviews, it all ties in together,
right?
So when they Google us, right, or not us, like pest control services near me.
Yeah,
Mike's working so that we are further up the list instead of
down
number 100 in the long list.
So theoretically, we should have to not really use Yelp as much.
Theoretically,
that's Mike's goal.
I mean, that's
what I'm shooting for.
I'd love to save the money, bro.
Yeah,
or pay you the money.
Yeah,
honestly.
absolutely.
Like, I mean,
well, there's other things too. Like we've talked, it really depends on when your budget is. But there's like local services ads that they have on Google too. We could set you up with that, and you could just test it. You can start with a low ad spend and just see what the quality. Like it works really good for home service companies.
I can tell you this: we're really happy with what you've done for us. And I mean, and honestly, the phone is ringing, and that's all I really know.
Yeah,
and
I mean that's kind of all that really.
I wish we should
goal,
do a better job of tracking where phone calls. I think the girls have, but I haven't really. Of knowing where things came from, but sometimes people are just like, well, I found, I don't know, I found you online, and that doesn't really tell me everything.
Yeah, I mean, if I found you on Facebook, that's not the same as Google.
Sure,
right?
Yeah, that's
but I mean,
so we do track the difference between the two.
Okay, good.
So I
learned things.
We have in our CRM like the source of where the call came from.
Oh, perfect.
And so we have a list of probably 10 or 15 things that we can select from. Now, I will say that I am trying to be better about remembering how, or asking them so I can put it in.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, I do a lot of the email responses and the Yelp responses. And so sometimes I don't even have to ask them because I remember their name from either replying to their email or if I do a lot on Facebook, like you were saying, if someone in the community is looking, I tag us all the time. So I'll remember the name of the person who, the original poster, and then I might know. But we do track the difference between Google or Facebook or Yelp.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Getting into a little fun thing. This was not on my list. I want to know about Sicily a little bit and your time there, and then we'll talk about just travel in general for a minute.
Okay. Well, I got lucky. I in our A school, I was an aviation machinist mate, so I worked on C-130s and P-3s. Cool. And so in Florida, they at Pensacola, they had your first choice of orders if you got first in your class, and so I got first place, and I picked Sicily, and we got there, and there wasn't enough barrack space to put us in. They were kind of doing a base transition at the time, and so immediately they put us in a villa out in town, and it was really sweet. It was. I mean, I had all these bad stories where people I got put on a ship in our ship's company, so I didn't have to do that. Had a great tour over there.
Yeah, and
it's really something interesting. I think I instead of work to live, I learned to live to work over there. If I said that right, but it's more it's just a formative part of my life. I was 18 to 23.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Yeah, and it's just a really laid back and relaxed kind of life, and that sort of translated into. I mean, we worked hard where we were, but everyone was sort of on the Sicilian time over there, you know. And so I think that's formulated a lot of how I've decided to manage our vacation time with our guys and time off and the work-life balance is really important for me,
right?
For our people.
Yeah.
So
because most people you get 2 weeks. That's the only vacation time you get. That's crazy.
No, I think we have 14 days of just regular days off. Plus the guys get 12 days of sick and vacation days. And, of course we even let guys Jerry's one of the people that got things going on. We'll let them work a weekend to try to get extra days.
Yeah. Having some realistic flexibility.
We are, yeah. But I expect people to work. They work hard too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't. It's not like we're.
You want to keep them working hard for you.
We're not pulling punches, but we've and that helped change a lot of the living over there changed a lot of the way I think about.
Did you get to travel around Europe at all?
Oh yeah, no, we definitely did. Yeah. I mean, many trips to Rome, but we took we rented a bus one time and drove all the way through to Germany and to Amsterdam and. Took a trip to Australia once.
18 to 23? Oh, man.
No. And it was cool. I extended there twice, and they gave me a free month of leave each time I extended.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it was really great, man.
That's really cool.
I have a lot. I regretted not going to college right away sometimes, but I'm that was better.
That was better.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that was
and
better.
I would have been
experience.
Yeah, and I wasn't ready to do college yet. I did that after.
Well, and then you never would have had those experiences probably ever.
No, because once you're going to college, you're I got to get a job. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I have 4 kids, and I'm.
Me too.
I've really told them this is a good deal. If you can get into the military now.
Well, if you get stationed in Sicily. You can't really control that.
It could be, you could get the bad deal. But I think, it's the military is what you get out of it, what you put into it.
Right.
And so.
And then, you went to college after that? You went to Mason?
Yeah.
Okay.
I graduated in 2008.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Doing, what was that major?
I did environmental policy, actually.
Okay. Interesting. Kind of goes in a little bit with what you're doing now.
Yeah. Well, it was sort of a degree where they allowed me to count some of the military credits towards it. And you kind of pick your own degree and then sort of do a dissertation towards the end of your college, your 4 years. And so I named that degree and just ended up doing forestry policy and anyway, that's what I did.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you went to school, where'd you go?
I went to Longwood.
Longwood. Oh, I partied there a few times.
I love it there. I haven't been. People are, taking their kids. Our friends are taking their kids on college tours, which is mind blowing because I just graduated last year, so I can't understand why our friends are taking their kids on these visits.
It's very strange.
It's so weird, and they're like, what should we see when we go visit Longwood? And I literally have to be like, I haven't been in 15 years. I have no idea what to tell you to go see. But I went to Longwood.
And you got married in Cancun or Riviera Maya.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So she wants to be a citizen or resident.
Oh, he knows.
Of
We're
Mexico
working on
at some
that.
point.
I've been to Mexico
I
twice
want
with
to
them.
too. Oh,
Right.
nice.
Oh no, we make sure he comes every December, and
Yeah.
I bring my computer so I can show him like I
Still
can
working.
I can still operate from
Yeah,
here.
you should go with us next time, Mike. Seriously.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's the local bars there. The best food, laid back. I mean, the beaches are amazing.
Well, my wife and I got married in Cancun too
did you?
in
Okay.
2017.
Oh, nice.
We usually go like once a year, but we're doing our first Airbnb.
They're gonna love it
in April.
In Cancun, or are you going to go down?
Yeah, well,
south?
it's like 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
So it's still kind of on. It's like right before it stops having the really crystal blue water.
Yeah.
So it's on the way to Puerto Morelos and Riviera
If it's
Maya.
40 minutes, it's probably pretty close. It might actually be past us. You might be on your way to
I
Playa.
don't know, something like that.
I'll look it up and tell you.
Yeah.
I'll look it up and tell
Yeah,
you.
something like that.
Anyway, it's been really. I mean, AJ and Krissie are really great to travel with. It's
Yeah.
it's easy, fun. We, same interests. We drink. We do karaoke.
Yeah.
We do all this shit.
AJ spends
karaoke.
6 months planning. This is why it's so easy.
I think she's going back in April. Are you guys going back? you
We're
said?
trying to.
Yeah.
We
That's where
probably
we're
are.
going.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I think we'll miss them. They're going over Easter. I don't think we
Mm.
can. We might try to get there like the last 2 days and stay.
That'd be
But
cool. So you have 4 kids.
I do.
Okay, how's that managing life?
It's I was telling you,
And a
I do
business,
travel,
you know?
baseball.
Yeah.
It's a lot of miles on the car. And I have the 2 young. I have 2 older and 2 younger. So I have a 12 and 14-year-old, and I have a 3 and 6-year-old.
Okay.
So just crazy running around. It's great.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
it's not
And
coincidence that I've been here for 6 years and there's a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
That is kind of where the timing
Yeah.
lined up for him. He was like, I think we need, that's when he realized, and you were building a home. So you
Well,
like,
I would say this. I can't. I absolutely could not do like all the things I need to do for my kids and everything if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
well, thank you, but
And
I
well,
meant
no, I
more
mean,
like how I got here was that was
well,
the
no, I
timing
mean
for
that
him.
is.
yeah, the necessity of looking for a hire.
Yeah, like
I can look at a
yeah.
lot of cause and effect, but ultimately the end result is I appreciate like everything you do.
I love it being here. It's you know
That's great. Well, and you've really just took on the role and just kind of took over essentially. Like, we got to fix this, got to fix this, got to fix this, and like let him.
Well, it's
just
a big learning curve. This industry. I mean, she's had to learn. I mean, it took me 5 years to learn everything
Right.
too. And now I hear her answer the phone and she knows all the answers to the questions. So sometimes I think she's like pushing me out of a job. I'm like,
Right.
I'll take some calls. I'll take some calls. Like, can I do something? But no.
I mean, you're the owner. She can't push you out of the job.
I know, but I mean, the day-to-day
no, but I could let him lay back.
Yeah.
Do the
So-
be the owner.
Yeah. No, but it is the work-life balance has been a big part of having a really good team.
Yeah, it's a blessing to find people that you can rely on
sure.
and actually like, oh, I can just take my kids to their practices or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
the
mean,
phone, everything's going to keep churning and
Driving
everything's
up to
going to be fine.
Pennsylvania or like Virginia Beach, like
Yeah.
I've got my fate planned out till June.
Yeah.
Really.
That's awesome. So what's like the future aspirations of the business? Do you have like a growth goal, or is it kind of just keep chugging and, no judgment either way? I think
No.
that's-
Well, I know that I like the slow growth model.
Yeah.
Like, and I know if you're not growing, you're dying. Like, that's also something I've learned.
but if you go too fast, you die.
Yeah. No, so there's some happy medium, but I prefer to really get to know the techs that I've hired for all the reasons we talked about. I really prefer to not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, it's also at the same point, I know we'll be scheduling 3 weeks out in a couple of months or a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
really in March.
Yeah.
So it's tough having the right number of people and then keeping over the wintertime and being prepared for the spring. So those are some of the challenges we have with growing.
Right.
And probably why a lot of folks don't do wildlife, because it's more regular. They don't have the influx of certain things. But our goal is probably just keep what we're doing, and we've been growing. Every year we grow 20%.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I feel pretty good with that.
Well, that's manageable.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wildlife manageable.
Well, and that though it's not all year either, so it is
Yeah.
easier kind of to manage that. You don't have it doesn't take over the bulk of your whole year, so it's kind of you can deal with it for the couple weeks or months that it is, and everything kind of swaps and takes place of something else.
So in the slower times, like is it mainly just like December, January, February in terms of like,
I think so.
Just because everything goes away.
Yeah, no, it starts in December. We take so much time off for Thanksgiving in December, and so it's like almost a full week off then, and then we have like Christmas is almost a full week off for our guys, and then so it's just slow by virtue of that,
right?
And then we have the snow which happened this year.
Yeah,
I mean we dodged a bullet on the last one, which I feel old saying that, but. No, because you always want but it just slows down inherently during those months, and then I mean we've already gotten 5 or 6 bird calls just today.
Oh, really?
And so is
that because they're like nesting in people's houses?
This is a nesting period for whatever. So
we had that here. Actually, our neighbor's probably going to have that, so I'll leave a card with me so I can go pitch it to them.
We hit whole townhouse communities, like it's right after the other. I mean, Ashburn, like the 3-story buildings there. They have a big problem.
Yeah.
So
we had one in our exhaust vent
for your bathroom.
And Jerry came and put like a net on it and whatever.
You've had all the gamut here, man.
Yeah, all of it. I mean, this house is.
It's at the training house. We should just when the guys need training on something, we'll just call you.
Yeah,
hey, we need them to come over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been pretty good since having you guys. For the most part, other than the squirrels but that bird nest was there before we started using you guys. And Jerry was like, "We'll just put a net over it," and he came and like dug everything out. And
dude.
Yeah,
it's really not rocket science, but.
Yeah. Well, all these houses are like from '95 and stuff, so a lot of those exhaust vents or
the flaps are coming off.
They're coming off, and they didn't have the
Believe me, builders don't put them on new either. Even new homes
right.
don't have it either.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but that they just don't.
And the birds are
save
smart.
money.
They'll move them.
So.
Yeah,
they'll just come in and lift those flaps up and get in anyway, even if they are there.
Yeah, Jesse, another bird story. Jesse, before I moved in here. The microwave vent had the same problem, and then so a bird came in and fell down into the microwave exhaust, and then her mom just said, "It'll get out," and then it didn't.
No.
And so they had to take the microwave out and like fix everything. But it's like, yeah, you got to take care of that. It's not going to be able to get out.
These are all the things like if you've done it 1,000 times, like it's easy. But if you're a homeowner, the first time you've dealt with it, nah, man. I mean, you have to really get somebody and that's where we come in.
Any other horror stories that don't involve dead people?
I mean, I've got a bunch. I don't know. I've seen people fall through their ceiling.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I mean, like I've seen roach problems so bad that you go and they're falling on your head as you walk through like doorways. I don't know.
Is that around here?
What's up?
Is that around this area?
Yeah, no, they're all around this area.
Really?
Like, it's just over the years. I remember a retirement home with bed bugs one time.
Ooh.
Where I mean it was awful. Like these folks were, it was a retirement home for people with like memory problems, and so they were not able to tell people they're not the thing. And I was so close to reporting these people because I didn't think they were doing everything they could to protect these folks. I didn't end up doing that, but yeah, it was just. I even imagine lifting a mattress up and seeing like 100 to like thousands of bed bugs underneath of a mattress.
I don't even know if I've seen a bed bug in person.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. These things were like so. I sprayed where they were, and they walked on their legs like this and out of the pesticide, and I was like, I didn't even know they could do that, but it was insane.
How big are bed bugs?
They're not about the size of a grain of rice, so they're not huge.
Okay,
they're not huge, but. Excuse me, they're flat bodied, so they can get underneath of mattresses and underneath of like, even like the wall. They can.
What are they going after? Like
blood.
Human
blood.
flesh.
Human flesh.
They wait until you your respiration and your body temperature drops, and then they come out and get you.
And so, how do they travel from like one place to another? Just like getting in your clothes and you don't know, and then they're
traveling or moving, or between walls, or
mainly from Sicily and from Cancun.
Yeah.
Well, they get in your luggage and stuff, and how these folks got there was probably from the caretakers that were taking care of these folks. They were bringing bags back and forth from home.
Oh yeah.
And so if you bring a bag into some place and set it where the bed bugs are and it's warm, they'll go into it.
Okay. So definitely every time you travel, just immediately wash your clothes just in case.
Well, there's a couple things you can do. So leaving your luggage in a bathroom. There's usually never bed bugs in a bathroom because it's all porcelain. They need to be like in clothing or fabric of something kind. So leaving it there helps. But when you get home, if you take, because you can get it at the, like, just checking your bags at like the airport. You can get them
if someone else,
Yeah.
Okay.
So they say leave your luggage like in your car and take all your clothes out and take them in and wash them on like hot and dry them or whatever. Just leave your luggage in the car for a couple days, and that helps.
Are there any other like tips that you have for other like animals that'll be coming up this season? Like stuff people can do other than just call you guys?
I mean,
well, I mean,
or like what does it look like when there's a termite thing happening?
Oh, that's a good one.
You know?
Well, so swarmers are a big thing that we do with termites. When they do the reproductive function, they fly out in mass numbers. So if you see a bunch of winged insect, things flying out, it could be an ant, could be a termite, but it's best to let us look at it.
Yeah.
The good thing is these days you send me a picture and I can identify it right away.
Right.
But I do think the yearly inspection for termites is something every homeowner should do.
Yeah.
If we do that once a year, I can almost promise we do the same kind of inspection we do if you were selling your house. Like we call the wood destroying insect inspection.
Yeah.
So no, I can't magically look behind the walls, but the termites we have here, they're subterranean termites. They take 5 years for it to really damage your house. So I'm going to see something at some point that protects your house.
Right.
And that's I think a sensible thing for homeowners to do.
And how do you like? Do you spray for them? Do you fog or something?
These are subterranean, so they live under the frost line outside. And so we inject termiticide. If this was the foundation, we inject it around the edges of the house so that it gets around the footers of the house. Yeah. And it crystallizes in the soil there. And so as the termites bore through it to get to the house, to come back and forth. They don't live in your wood of your home. They live outside. And so as they come back and forth, they'll pick up that stuff and take it back to the colony.
Oh, okay.
And so some people in our industry think that if you just treat the house every 10 years, you really don't have to think about it again.
Is that correct? Do you think so?
Well, I mean, I think that might be overkill in some cases. Yeah. It depends on what the area is and the age of the house.
Right.
Some houses we can't do that if you're on well water. So we'd have to use termite bait stations. I think I would stick to the inspection once a year.
Right.
I think it's about peace of mind.
Right.
Or some people just prefer to do that. It's 40 or 50 to 60 gallons of termiticide that would go into a single family home. So it's a lot of chemical into the ground.
Right.
So I think I would do that case by case and based on the age of the home. If it's a 30-year-old home or a 90s home, I might suggest treating it.
Yeah.
But if it's only 10 years old, I might say not.
Right. We'll have to get that on our list this year.
Yeah.
Mine was treated a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we did treat your place, didn't we?
Yeah.
She's almost 100 years old.
Do you have a basement at your house?
No, but we have a
crawl space.
Rather intricate crawl space system.
Crawl space is almost harder because it's harder to get to the corners to see. And that's the insidious thing about termites is that you're in behind walls. And so I mean, how many times I've been on a construction site, they go to cut, like remodeling, they cut the drywall out and you like, oh my God, every single joist is eaten up.
That happened to my friend that was flipping a property in Oaksville.
And you can't see it.
Yeah.
Like until you do that. And so it's sometimes better just to treat and be sure.
Right.
Once we treat, we can be 100% confident that you wouldn't have any problem.
Right. Yeah. He would wish the previous home buyer would have treated it.
Yeah.
Because there was like a whole, like a floor joist and a beam that had all been
so you had to actually jack it up and re-support the home.
Yeah. So that costs not a little amount of money.
It's not free.
Yeah. So what can people do with mice? We actually had a mouse one time too, that Jerry caught for us. What can people do to prevent? Or is there anything?
The quarterly treatments are the best thing for mice. So we know mice only go about 300 feet for their food over their lifetime. And so really the way we keep them out, although we do seal openings, we try to treat the perimeter of a structure to eliminate the mice that are in that vicinity. Mm-hmm. So for a townhouse like this, you're obviously at the whims of your neighbors a little bit. Because, if the neighbors aren't doing something, so it's better if everyone does something. But for your house, we would treat it the front and the back. Mm-hmm. And we would hope to eliminate the mice you're probably helping your neighbors out, but we're eliminating the mice that may come in.
I'll send them a bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Send them yours. Just send them your invoice.
Hey guys, I'm fixing everything for us. You know?
Most people don't see around like Home Depots, around, every type of commercial structure that you can think of. They can't keep them out of there by sealing things up. So they have these bait stations, and usually it's every 3 weeks or every month that someone comes and fills those up and you're just eliminating the mice in that given area.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep them out.
Right. I'm trying to think of squirrels too. Is there anything for squirrels other than not bird feeders close to the house?
I think, well, yes.
Yeah.
Also, keeping your trees cut back away from the roof line, because a lot of times what we see is squirrels are just going
That's
from
how they
tree
got up
limbs
here,
and,
'cause there was
and
this-
hopping. So keeping your tree limbs cut back. We also recommend doing a wildlife inspection even before you think you have a problem, right? Because if there are those holes, those entry points, if we can seal them up before anything ever gets in,
Right.
then you're kind of taking care of the problem before it starts. So even just doing, and we have quite a few people that want just an annual roofline and attic inspection, even if they don't think that there's a problem.
Right.
But just as a way to make sure that they're keeping track of what's going on the outside of their home.
Catch it before.
A lot of people don't spend a lot of time in their attic. It's not a very functional part of your home.
Yeah.
So some people just
Only
want
been
us
out
to
there
go.
one time.
Yeah, people just say, we don't like it up there, and will you send someone who will go?
Yeah.
And we'll check out the attic and
Yeah, because I also don't like heights.
no.
So I maybe could have fixed the thing that Jerry did, but if it was here,
Right.
Yeah. No,
I could do that, but
That
I'm
is a
not.
big
I
part
don't
of
want to
it.
get on. So that's like, other than birds, like what else is up in an attic? Birds,
Squirrels,
raccoons.
mice. We have a customer in Leesburg that has snakes somehow in his attic. Hundreds of them at one point that
Oh my
that
God.
we had to remove, and they still somehow
Yeah.
Get
You just
up
had such
there.
a bad mice problem up there.
Oh, okay.
because they feed on
that makes
on mice.
sense.
So if there's a lot of mice, you'll end up
Yeah.
with a lot of snakes. But
I don't know if I could be cut out for the job, but
I couldn't
happy
do
to
it,
refer
no.
you and be your
Right.
marketing guy.
right,
When I interview somebody, sometimes I'm like, all right, let's just check this ladder first and see if you're okay walking up it.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's a big part of it.
yeah, I mean, I'm good with like a step stool.
everyone thinks they can climb a ladder. I won't. I
Well, because
I've
they've
been-
done it like 10 years ago, and then
Right.
they're like, they get a going away feeling.
I absolutely would
Yeah,
not.
I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't care. We used to like
Yeah.
climb up on our grandparents' roof and swing on the tire
Mm-hmm.
swing and everything. But now I'm like, a little more cognizant of this could
Yeah.
go bad. This could go bad very easily. So is there anything else you guys want to cover before we wrap up?
No, I think this is a great conversation.
Yeah, I think so. Great.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Krissie John
Yes,
and Morgan
yes.
Jones from Veteran Wildlife. Thank you guys for coming out, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
thanks,
us.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.